Have you ever felt like you couldn't breathe just from being around a crowd of people? Have you ever felt completely hopeless just by being asked to do the simplest tasks and having lack of motivation? This could be a sign of anxiety and/or depression. Around the world, various college students struggle with depression and anxiety. Author Judah's 2009 article was published in Journal of Social Sciences and Medicine, talking about financial strain and academic stress are the two main reasons college students have anxiety and depression. With that being said, financial strain I can take a personal effect on. I go to school full time and pay for my school all in full. I also pay bills on the side and work part-time, so I can see how that can take a toll on mental health, and I can easily say that it did, especially with anxiety. I know there are many of you here today that deal with the same stuff and many of people around the world. With that being said, anxiety and depression among college students needs to be recognized more throughout everywhere. I never realized the severity of anxiety and depression among college students until personal experience and tons of research. This afternoon, I would like to talk to you guys about the signs, symptoms, causes, and treatments for depression and anxiety among college students. First, starting with signs and symptoms, author Judah presents a meta-analysis and systematic review talking about signs and treatments of depression and anxiety. Right here, she talks about the different ones. A racing heart is one of the most common signs for anxiety, as well as depression. A racing heart can be seen as having a bad day or just being nervous, but in reality, it could be something more, and that is why noticing these signs and symptoms is so crucial. For depression, a lack of energy and consistency of being sad all the time is also another sign. When you're sad for weeks and weeks and months at a time, this is a sign of depression, a major sign, as well as fatigue or decreased energy, and author Judah does a great way of explaining that. This chart right here, published by the CDC, shows the increase of the COVID-19 pandemic spike in depression and anxiety among college students. For example, June of 2019, 36.9% of students had symptoms of depression and anxiety. However, in 2020, it went up to 42.4%. So you can see that there's an increase in the signs and symptoms of anxiety as the years go up. Author Wyatt states how signs and symptoms start at a young age. With that being said, it can be hard to notice signs and symptoms, especially when you're young and don't know much about depression and anxiety. Moving on, I would like to talk about the causes of depression and anxiety. Author Wyatt talks about the unique nature of depression and anxiety with adverse childhood experiences. For example, a lot of children that have to go through financial strain growing up paying bills can result in depression and anxiety. Right here, Wyatt shows that 30% of college students reported that stress had negatively affected their academic performance. And 85% of college students were just entirely overwhelmed with all the stuff they had to do. Like I stated earlier, it's hard to find a balance when it comes to paying bills, working full-time, and paying for school. 24.5% of people reported that they take medication to help with their anxiety and depression. However, a lot of kids that dealt with depression and anxiety at a young age came from parents fighting all the time, which can result in anxiety and depression as well. With that, it causes anxiety because students and children think that they are the reason for their parents fighting. Lastly, I would like to talk about the treatments for anxiety and depression, which I think is the most important. For anxiety, there are many therapy places you could go, medication, additional treatments such as lifestyle changes, and all of those are great, especially when it comes to anxiety as well as depression. However, I would like to talk about meditation because it completely relaxes the body, and that is a great way without taking medicine to deal with depression and anxiety. A survey of development evaluation shows how many seek counseling. Many students seek counseling in college, but pursuing that act is the hardest part when it comes to finding treatments. In conclusion, I would like to state that I was able to inform you guys over depression and anxiety, and that with the signs, treatments, symptoms, and causes, that you were able to recognize these on yourself and many others in the future. Thank you.